Hello, I'm Gabriel Zucman, Professor of Economics and Director of the EU Tax Observatory, and I have one simple message for you, which is that we need a minimum tax on ultra-high net worth individuals. Why? Because there's a growing body of evidence that the super rich everywhere pay much less tax than the rest of the population. Their effective tax rate is often only half of what working class people pay, middle class people pay, okay? Concretely, billionaires pay much less tax than their secretaries. And the most powerful way to fix that issue is to say that there should be a floor. If you're extremely rich, you shouldn't be allowed to pay zero or very little. There should be a minimum. Then the question becomes, okay, how do we define this minimum? And the answer is easy. The minimum shouldn't be expressed as a fraction of income, because the very notion of income is not well defined for billionaires. They can easily structure their wealth such that their wealth will not generate a lot of income, and that's precisely how they end up paying so little tax today. So for the minimum tax to work, it has to be expressed as a fraction of wealth. Hence the proposal that I developed last year, working closely with the Brazilian presidency of the G20. The proposal is a minimum tax of 2% as a fraction of wealth for centi-millionaires, meaning people who have more than $100 million in net wealth. In the report that I wrote for the Brazilian presidency, that was published in June 2024, I detailed this proposal. I explained its feasibility. I explained how we can build on past progress in international cooperation, the automatic exchange of bank information in particular, the global minimum tax on multinational firms, to advance those efforts and now apply that logic to billionaires. We're in a good situation today to make this work. And we don't need a truly global agreement, just like some countries are not implementing the minimum tax on multinational firms. That's okay. This minimum tax works nonetheless, and we can do the same for billionaires. Let me emphasize something that's really important, which is that this standard of taxation, this minimum tax, this floor, is important for all countries. It's not only for rich economies of the North. It's extremely important for the global South and for African countries and for South Africa in particular. Why? Because in all countries, you have people who have more than $100 million in wealth. Billionaires are relatively few in number, that's true, but everywhere you have lots of people who have tens of millions or 50 million or 100 million or $200 million in wealth. And everywhere those individuals pay very little tax. Okay, so they would be concerned, they would be affected by this 2% minimum tax. And the second thing, and the second reason why this is so important for global South countries, for African countries, for South Africa in particular, is that it's just not possible to increase taxes on working class and middle class or even upper middle class individuals if the most powerful and the wealthiest individuals in the countries pay very little. Or to put it differently, if you do a genuine effort at better taxing the super rich, those who today pay much less than everybody else, then it opens a realm of possibilities for doing other tax reforms, other tax increases, potentially on broader groups of the population. So to build modern tax systems, progressive tax systems, fair tax systems, we have to start with tackling what is the key issue today, which is the non-taxation of the super rich. This should be the #1 priority everywhere. Thank you so much.